Yeah, great. Thanks. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our October 7th regular council meeting. It's 9:30. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Welcome back, Councillor Flagler. Councillor Clement can't be with us today. She has some personal things to attend. So I'm going to start off the land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen is located on the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa Nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations, which includes Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Rama, Coastal A, and Georgina Island First Nations. Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen respectfully acknowledges that the Williams Treaties First Nations are the stewards and caretakers of the lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. Next, I'm going to start with a moment of silent reflection, so council and staff can quietly reflect on our duties to the community that we represent. Thank you. All right, I'm going to ask everyone to make sure your cell phones are off and or placed on vibrate so it doesn't disturb the meeting. And remind council of declaration if you fear or interest. If it arises, you can declare it then. We have minutes here from the regular council meeting from September 16th and special council meeting award September 25th. So moved by Deputy Mayor Webb that we approve those minutes, second by Councillor Doherty. All in favor, and that's carried. All right, so we're going to move into delegations, and our first delegation here is Barry Lane. He's here with the Pine Grove, or the Presbyterian Church, and with some comments around the Pine Grove Cemetery, and he's got a Pine Grove Cemetery financial statement here. So Barry, welcome. You can come up to the mic there.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity. As many of you may be aware by now, the Knox Presbyterian is having to close its doors. Our last service is coincidentally the anniversary service on the 26th of this month. We have dwindling numbers, as do a lot of churches, and dwindling finances. So we've been looking at this for a long time, and it's finally come. And now one situation with the church is Pine Grove Cemetery runs under the auspices of the church. If the church is not in operation, the cemetery cannot run.
Right.
Legally and technically, the church's responsibility to the cemetery is done midnight, the 31st of December of this year. And I am here representing the congregants to ask the municipality to see if they might administer and take over the supervision of the cemetery from that point on. I don't know if anyone has any questions or concerns. I hopefully can answer them, and if not, I'll get an answer quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the board was aware of this, and Ray McCutcheon, secretary from the board, is here today. We did hear about this and seen it coming. So it is one of those transitions that I think for a few years now we've been kind of watching how things are going. So I'll open up to council if you have any questions, but the idea today would be that they're going to approach the board about taking over Pine Grove Cemetery as part of the community cemetery board. So does the council have any questions around that?
Not really, just a comment. I'd like to thank you, Barry, and your group there for all the years of work you've put in over there. It's a shame to see organizations like this going away, right? They've been backbones of not just this community, of all small communities over the years. So it's really sad. And to the mayor's point, the mayor's on the cemetery board, and we have Mr. McCutcheon here as well. yeah, we'll do everything in our power to make sure this ends up in the right hands. So thank you.
Question or comment? Yeah, Barry, thank you for coming out today, and we'll keep in touch on how things proceed down there through October and right to the end of the year. And the cemetery board will talk about this at their next meeting, I'm sure. So Ray, did you have anything that needs to be said, or do you want to leave it until after the board?
Yeah, I'm representing the municipal cemetery board. I'm quite comfortable that a good merger can be achieved, and things. I think things will go rather smoothly.
All right, thank you. Okay, thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
Yeah, motion to receive the delegation, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
Motion is transferred.
And a motion to support the transfer. Okay, so moved by Deputy Mayor Webb. Okay,
I'll make that motion.
and second by Councillor Flagler. So in the same. All right, next delegation. I just give it. I don't. Travis was looking for something there. And...
I think he was trying to log into the meeting. I don't see his name come up. He hasn't logged in.
All right, well, we can move into the delegation here. Baker Kelly, Richard Zanaga, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Here to present the draft audited financial results for the municipality for the year ended December 31st, 2024. And the detailed financial statements are also provided, but what I will do is run through the presentation here as most people find it easier to understand than the detail that is contained in the statements. So first off, on the next slide is a summary of our independent auditors report. So this is our report on the financial statements. The auditors report content and our responsibilities and management responsibilities are all consistent with the prior year. So what we've done here is pull out what we consider to be the important paragraph that, in our opinion, the accompanying consolidated financial statements present fairly, in all material respects, the financial position of the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen at December 31st, 2024, and the results of its operations and its cash flows for the year that ended in accordance with Canadian public sector accounting standards, or more commonly known as PSAB. So that is your standard clean, unqualified auditor's report. Keep in mind, when we say consolidated financial statements, the numbers we're looking at includes the operations of the township itself, as well as the library board, as well as the cemetery board, as its municipal board. So yeah, that is your standard report that you normally get. So next, just as an idea, is the type of work that we do when we do to complete the audit. We go through and we look at council minutes. We do testing to gain our evidence to determine whether the amounts presented are accurate. And we do that by way of sampling, looking at management estimates, analytical review, and then as well too, we document and look at your systems and controls, looking at how the money comes in, your revenues, how the money goes out through your payroll and disbursements, and how you adjust things through your journal entries. So on the next slide, you'll see that the audit is complete pending sign of representation letters, sign of legal letters, and of course council approval of the financial statements. As well too, there were no significant difficulties encountered during the course of our audit, disagreements or difficulties with management or changes to our audit plan, excellent cooperation. And as well too, this year, unlike last year where there's a major change for financial instruments and asset retirement obligations, there were 3 changes to PSABs. and one impacted the municipality. And that was in relation to what's called the revenue standard, is how you record your revenue. And historically, building permits were always recorded when you issued the permit and collected the money. So that therefore, once you collected it, it was shown as revenue. But as you all know, the work to be done to actually complete the permit gets completed later. So this year, the standard was changed so that there's the need to estimate as to how much work you've done to complete that building permit, and then that'll impact how much revenue you bring in. So this year, there was about $90,000 in deferred revenue that was estimated, the permits that weren't finished, so that you don't lose the revenue. It just that it comes in a later year when you actually complete the permits. And as well too, as part of our audit, we do keep a scorecard, and for 2024, for uncorrected differences, there were none. So in the past, there were some items on our list. So this year, there were just a small amount of $15,000 that was a reversal from the prior year. So all of that now coming into 2025, all of that has been cleaned up, and there are no items coming forward into 2025 on that list. So that's a summary of the actual the audit process and results. Now we'll actually look at some numbers. So now we do have a new presentation. So what you will see there, the 5-year analysis, and then on the right hand side, the green line is just the 5-year trend on how things have went over the 5 years in the bar graph line graph presentation. Overall, you will see that with your cash and investments did increase year over year. That's mainly due to the fact that you were able to set some monies aside in reserves, so your reserves increased, and as well too, your accounts payable also increased. You did have some work ongoing at the end of the year where you owed capital payments in relation to the George Street project. So your payables increased, which meant you had more money left in your regular bank accounts. Overall too, your receivables went up slightly year over year, and majority of that is all related to capital programs, mainly the ICIP grants for both the community center and George Street project, as well too. You do have some HST outstanding this year. Only 1 quarter outstanding at the end of the year. And then as well too, you'll see there your taxes receivable, they went up a fair bit actually in total. Couple items there to highlight. You did have a large supplementary run later in the year that so it was not all collected by the end of the year, causing some of that increase. And as well too with for most municipalities, the postal strike late in 2024 prevented sending out and collection of payments for sending out statements, things such as that. But still, in total, when you look at your percentage outstanding of your total levy, it's still at 7.3%, up from 5.8% the year before. So the Ministry of Municipal Affairs states to be in the low risk range, you have to be 10% or lower. So you're still well within the low risk range. So just so you're aware that you're still sitting well in that position. So in total, you had about almost $29.9 million in financial assets. Next slide, you'll see who you owe money to. As I mentioned earlier, your accounts payable and accrued liabilities, there was a large increase there, and that was related to the amounts owing for the George Street project as well too. There were some additional amounts owing with the supplementaries you got. Of course, you still owe them the county and school air portion, so that was sitting in payables as well. So and as well too, some of the other larger items is your OPP costs seem to be later in their billing, so there was a few months outstanding there. Next, you come to your deferred revenue obligatory reserve funds. So these are monies that you get from the Canada Community Building Fund and parkland fees that, although you've collected them, until you spend them, in the requirements that listed there that they sit there as deferred revenue until you meet and spend it in that manner. And the big change there was you used $125,000 more than what you received for the building Canada Community Building Fund. So you use that on the old Norwood Road. So that's a decrease there. And then as well too, you'll see an increase in your deferred revenue other, and that is where about $90,000 of building permits that was deferred under the new revenue standard change that I talked about earlier is sitting. And as well too, the majority of the balance relates to OCIF funding of about $364,000 that you can carry forward into future years. And then as well, you still have your asset retirement obligations that was brought in last year that replaced the landfill post-closure liabilities. So you can see there just with the accretion or the discounting and bringing that liability up, that was the increase. And then you did spend about almost $30,000 on settling some of the asset retirement obligations for your landfill. So in total, in current liabilities, you had about 4.8 million. And then the following slide gives you an idea of when you net the financial assets with the financial liabilities, and you can see there that over the last 5 years, you've been on a nice increasing trend over that time period. It's reflective of you're setting money aside for future capital projects, which we'll take a look at later. And then the next slide, you will see there, then we have your non-financial assets on the next slide. And so then the non-financial assets, these represent your tangible capital assets and prepaid expenses. So these are items that you, as opposed to financial assets, the non-financial assets presented here are assets that you have that you don't try to turn into cash. So, and you can see there the biggest one is the tangible capital assets, and that's all the assets that you own based on historical costs less amortization. And then on the following slide, you will see that the additions that you had during the year broken down into the various categories, and you will see there that the large portion does relate to roads and bridges, being almost 900,000 on the old Norwood Road and about 1.6 million on George Street. So those are major components there versus some work done for items with the outdoor rink and the ball field, land improvements, and then some on buildings, roofs and things such as that. And then as well too, some acquisition of equipment being trucks and a sidewalk plow, things such as that in the equipment. And then the water and sewer represents work done on George Street as well. And then when you go to the following slide, you will see the additions versus amortization over the years. And other than 2020, year additions have been at least or more than your amortization. Then we come to the following slide, slide 11, which is your accumulated surplus. And overall, the municipality has a total accumulated surplus of about $55.6 million. But when you take a look at that, the bulk of that is tied up into your capital assets being $31.6 million. So that's the net book value of all your assets less your asset retirement obligations attached to those assets. And then for the top part, you will see there that as well too, the cemetery board converted some of their surplus into some a capital asset addition there for columbarium. So that's why there's a decrease there. And then we come to the final component being your reserve and your reserve funds. And you can see there that in total, it went from about 20.8 million versus to about $24 million, about $3.2 million increase. So they're able to set those funds aside. So one thing to keep in mind when you look at this is you'll see there that the net book value in your capital assets is still greater than your reserves. And the fact that your your assets that are reported here in that $31 million are based on what you spent to buy them, not what it's going to cost you to replace them. So like this building here would probably be close to fully amortized, and if you had to replace it, it would cost you more than zero. So just keep that in mind when you look at these numbers. So yeah. Next slide is just a quick summary of your consolidated statement of operations. So this shows you the budget versus the actual and totals, revenues and expenses. And you will see there that even under the budget, you were expecting a surplus, but you know that when you set your tax rates, you can have a surplus. So the lower part in the reconciliation gives you an idea of certain things that bring you back to zero, being the differences between the public sector accounting standards and your tax rate budgeting as you're mandated under the act to do. So, and most of that does all relate to capital assets and the use of reserve and reserve funds. So, and then on the actuals, you will see there how certain items presented in the financial statements get adjusted, and also bringing you back to a zero position with the transfer of any remaining surplus for the township into reserves. So the following slide gives you an idea of your revenues and expenses over the last 5 years. So there, the fact that your revenues have been higher than your expenses, and some of that does relate to the fact that grants you earn for capital get recorded when you spend the money. The expense hits later when the asset is amortized. Overall, on the next slide, you'll see your revenues versus your revenues only for 2024 versus the budget and the prior year, and you will see there that under property taxation, the larger increase there in relation to the large supplementaries you had. User charges, majority of that does. Almost half of that relates to water and sewer operations, as well as planning and zoning fees, landfill fees, as well as recycling and things such as that, and building permits. Government of Canada and Province of Ontario, a large portion of that does relate to ICIP funding for majority George Street, and as well too about $1.2 million in OMBF funding. And then your penalties and investment income, penalties on taxes and investment income, you will see there is significantly higher than budget, and that's due to the impact of your investments doing really well. So that's about $900,000 over budget. And then as well to your other revenue, majority of that relates to other grants from the Ontario Trillium Foundation and the Canada Community Building Fund is the money used on hold. So totally out of $15.2 million. And then the next slide shows you where the money went to, about $10 million. And you will see there that slightly over budget, and so some of that is most of that's related to differences in amortization over time versus the budget. So still most line items coming in under budget, except for the transportation. There was some more repairs and maintenance on roads and amortization being higher, and environmental services, amortization and accretion on your asset retirement obligation, and water repairs were higher than budgeted as well, causing the variance there. And the following slide just gives you an idea as to the type of expenses that you had, and you can see there, you, like most other municipalities, you provide your services with staff, so that's why salaries and benefits are the largest component there. Materials was higher than budget, and that's related to the water and sewer maintenance costs being over. Contracted services, the largest component there is related to your OPP. Rents and financials include the accretion expense for your asset retirement obligations, and your external transfers are mainly related to conservation authorities. So that's a summary of where things ended up.
Yeah. Any questions for Richard?
So yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, just one question. I think it was on page 29 for sure. Yeah, financial liabilities. So I think you referenced it. Asset retirement obligations. And I think he says the landfill post closure kind of got rolled into that.
Yes, yeah.
So in 2022, we went from 290 in the landfill post closure, and then 2023, we're up to 1.18. So what can you explain that discrepancy and
So.
where the extra money comes from?
Yeah, so the implementation of the asset retirement obligations included more items than just the landfill. So the previous section 700 was just purely for landfills. It got replaced with the new section on asset retirement obligations. So that also then picked up items such as asbestos that you may have. So that's both within your buildings and your underground services. So that's why a more major portion, why that increased. And then as well too, I believe you have some wells and stuff too that also do need to be remediated. And those two items were not included in the previous direction on how it was done. The previous, it was just for land.
Okay, I think that's why I see a zero there.
Yes.
Okay, that's why I just wondered, because I knew we had to add two things, but looked like we were only shifting.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We're just one more, Mr. Mayor, through you. Thank you very much for the report. I really appreciate your reports every year you come. I ask you this question probably every year, because I just like it. We have a good crowd here today. In your opinion, what is the financial situation of HPM compared to our peers?
Well, I mean, you can see positives there, like even on the screen where the slide we're looking at. I mean, you're able to acquire all your assets without having any long-term debt. So that's always a nice thing to see. As I pointed out on the accumulated surplus slide, though, you do have a lot in reserves, which is reflective then of why you have a lot in the cash and investments, but still, you're coming into a time where you need to refresh a lot of your assets, and costs now are a whole lot more than what it cost you before. So I mean, if you just.
Yeah, just the reason I asked the question is I think a lot of people have seen the stories in the news more so about Northern Ontario, but small communities like ours, in terms of being hit with large tax increases because of asset management, other things that have been thrown in our lap by either the provincial government or the federal government. So I don't want to put you on the spot, but it's safe to say HBM's in pretty good financial shape in terms of we're not going to end up in a situation like that anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, you've done really good planning in the past, so that's benefiting you now. And yeah, so hopefully you don't have a catastrophic issue with one of your assets. So, but yeah, I mean, the way you're proceeding, you seem to be in good shape. Yes.
Thank you very much, Richard.
Any questions for Richard? I thank you. You do simplify it, and I think like the deputy mayor is saying, a lot of these things are snapshots, but it's hard if you don't realize what's ahead of us. And we do have a lot of things planned ahead of us that are going to be really expensive. So it's nice that we're looking after things, but the unknowns are what we're preparing for, because there is a lot of unknowns. So, yeah, so if there's no other questions, I thank you, Richard. Motion to receive your report, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Authority. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Richard.
I do have a good meeting.
Richard, we'll get you some autographs.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so the next delegation here is George Durrett. George. Gertie.
Okay, I lived here all my life. I bought a lot on 44 on Church Street 25 years ago. The township put a 300 and something over filled in for my lane. I was asked a while ago, how come I didn't get a permit in my name? The township put the thing in there. How far back can you go? In years? Do you know? That's 25 years ago. Why would I get a permit for my lane when the township put it in? Can you, any of you just tell me?
No, I don't know.
Like before, you used to be able to go back 7 years or 5 years, not 25 years. Who has the answer? How do you find the answer?
About the permit?
Yeah,
What's the question?
actually, you asked me how come I didn't get a permit. The township put the road in 25 years ago. They did, not me.
Yeah, like it was a question. Did you get is there a permit? We don't even know if there's a permit. We didn't see a permit for it. Did we, Peter?
But the township put 300 and some load of fill in there. They done that to get rid of the fill.
Right.
Okay, so actually, when Mr. Green opened the pit, they built the road up 2 feet. I get all the water in my lane. Well, I wasn't even told I should have got the dirt, chance to get the dirt out of it. I went to the lake, I come back, I had a 4-foot ditch or a culvert across the lane. They went up 2 feet, you can't get out the north lane. So I've been after them for the last 5 years to fix the lane. They come and said, yep, 2 feet, it's an awful lot to go. So I went to the county, I went to the township, back and forth a dozen times. The county says no, 44 is county. Church Road is township. And the township guys come and said, yep, it's 2 feet, we'll fix it. Well, last year they were gonna fix it with recycled pavement. That's like a Band-Aid. I have road pavement on it. I want it fixed right. If I went after Mr. Green, he'd fix it. But I don't think it's Mr. Green's problem. I think the township should fix it. And the sand, the dust that goes past there, I take my lawnmower and sweep the road because you can't see for dust. So, anyway, the last time I heard they want me to go back to the county. Well, I've already been to the county 2 or 3 times. I've been to Mr. Green 2 or 3 times. It's the township road. I would like to know when they're going to fix it. And a while ago, I was supposed to get a load of topsoil. County was supposed to give me 2 loads of fill. I got 1, said put it in the pile, I'll fix it. Mr. Green dug a ditch for it. I look after the ditch. I clean the ditch, I don't get nothing. The other days I come to pay my taxes. I was 6 days late, they charged me $8 for being late. This is an old folks home. Where did they think the money's gonna come from? And I would like some answers. That's why I come today. Maybe I'll get some answers one way or the other. Thank you.
So we did have some pictures of your driveway and talking to
I
everybody.
got pictures of the county to the driveway too. They
So,
have them.
yeah, so it has come to the county and I don't think the county said it's up to the standard that the rest of the driveways are along that stretch. As far as our department, Peter, is there, it's a county thing as far as I understand. They're the ones that built the road up and they say it was done to the standard that the rest of them were done to. That's your driveway there and that's the slope that's there.
That's the north driveway, goes up 2 feet. Mr. Green dug that ditch, I look after it.
And they paved it? Who paved it?
I paid for pavement. Mr. Green paid that long time ago. Road pavement, not, if you put cement on, you get paid for taxes. If you put road, lane pavement on, you paint it. I put road pavement on, it cost me more money. It's road pavement. So I don't want recycled pavement on the road pavement because then I don't fool around with it.
But when they built the road up, I've seen a seam there. Is that, who paved it? Who paved the joint? Yeah,
Mr.
your
Green
driveway,
paved the road, so
the driveway.
and pays for the road because he wants full loads of it. In the summertime, you can't even see my lane for dust.
Okay.
And I sweep it with my lawnmower, the side road and 44.
So what's your request?
I would like to get my lane fixed so I can go out the thing, it's too high. You was going to recycle it last year, then this year you come and said you're not going to do nothing with it. No problem, well, you don't drive my lane, I do. And I pay taxes too, so I just like some answers. I'm not running no more, I'm tired of running.
I'll open up.
So that's why I come today to get some answers of when you're going to fix it right.
How long ago was that done?
If just. That lane was done, I'm not sure when it was done, I'd have to go to Mr. Green and see.
When was the road done, Peter?
It's between 8 and 10 years to me,
Thank you.
Yeah, before I had to put a pump in, my lane and pump it out in the ditch for water. Cause I get all the road, when they build that road up, all that comes on my lane.
So I'll turn it over to council if you got any thoughts here.
No, just quickly through you, Mr. Mayor. I think Mr. Durrett's been dealing with this for a while. Obviously, we've looked into it. I don't know if referring it back to staff is gonna move this ahead any further, so I don't know where we stand here or how we should proceed in terms of
Here, I'll speak.
he would have a better idea how we might be able to help Mr. Durrett.
Through you, Mr. Martin. Yes, we have been out to look at Mr. Dress driveway. Staff did not feel it was a township responsibility since the county did raise the road to build the road up, as Mr. Durrett said, for the Smith Pit quarry. With that being said, they raised the road, which also raised the aprons, the approaches onto County Road 44, which tapered back in on Church Road, both sides. So from township staff point of view, we thought it was on the county to rectify Mr. Dress driveway.
So what do we do on our roads? Like we have several roads that we've built up a couple of feet. What do we do with them with the taper?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, same thing. It's a gradual, depending on each case is a little bit different, obviously, but yeah, we make the gentlest slope as possible and taper it back in, even onto, in Mr. Dress case, even into private property. So it's a nice smooth transition between the road and the property owner.
And that's what was done there.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I think the same question you just, so in terms of the picture, we have Mr. Durrett's, in terms of being a road manager. That grade looks sufficient in terms of if you did that, that would be.
Yes.
That's okay,
Through
okay.
you, Mayor Martin, yes, we would do that and
I'm just saying, like,
Driveways,
he's
yeah.
telling us there's too much of a slope there, but you're telling me that's sufficient grade for that job.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, we would do that through
Okay.
through all of our other roads too, side roads, gravel roads, new surface treatment, we taper them back.
Actually, Mr. Webb and Peter was out there a couple of times and said, yeah, I can see the problem, so all I want is this fixed. We already know there's a problem, so, and I could go to Mr. Green too, but I don't think it's our problem. He'd fix it.
So if a driveway's paved, we pave their driveway to match it up and all that. That's how it works.
Yes, through you.
And if it's gravel, it's gravel.
That's correct. Yep.
All right, yeah, I was out to it too, and like I know my own driveway, my road was built up 2 or 3 feet too, and I have a same thing at the end of my driveway. I see them all, the whole street all the way down 44 has tapers on them, so it looks like it's a standard process of how they do it. You know, and that's all I seen while I was out there, but we can speak to the county and get an official answer from them. As far as the township's concerned, it's how we do all of the rest of them. And you know, I can speak to the county and get them to give you something in writing, one way or the other, either fix it or let you know
Well,
why.
I could go to Mr. Green, he'll fix it too, but I don't think it's our problem. Usually I don't.
I don't think-
look up.
I don't think he'll fix it either, but you know, if he will, that's good, but because it's on the side road too, right? It's not on 44.
Not on 44, I'm not hollering about it, I can get out yet, it's not as steep. In the winter time, you can't get out the other road, and I grade the road. I sweep the road with my own lawnmower, nobody else does. I clean the ditches, nobody does. And then they charge me extra for taxes because it was six days late, $8. Look, this is no fault for them.
So I think for today, if we receive the delegation and maybe speak to the county and see if we can get something official back from them, not just get an official something in writing that
So I'll make that motion.
okay,
Accept, receive, and then I'll reach out to the county for some
see if we
kind
can
of
get some
response.
official response. Okay, moved by the deputy mayor. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councilor Blackley, second. Any questions?
Question, with the motion, are we gonna ask the county for a definitive answer, like yes or no? Because I think that's what Jordy is looking for so that we can go. I don't think he needs any excuses from any of us, so if we could amend that or, yeah.
Well, I can tell you your answer for that, because they already told me it was a township road, they were looking after it. And they want me to run back there again, I've been there 2 dozen times now, I'm tired of running,
Well, we have a
I just
motion.
like the lane fixed.
We have a motion. All in favor of the motion? And that's. Thank you, Jordy.
Right, thank you.
All right, that's the end of the delegations. Staff report, we have no staff reports for information, so we're just gonna move right into staff report. First on, pretty prompt to get into the day. Window replacement, Stone Hall.
Yes, sir.
Jordy?
Mayor Martin and members of council. The purpose. This report is to obtain council's approval to award Stone Hall window replacement tender. The tender of the Stone Hall window replacement was placed on bids and tenders, as well as the township website and social media platforms on September 4th. They closed on September 25th at 11:05 a.m. It's recommended that council provide approval for staff to award the Stone Hall window tender to Maymar Construction in the amount of $29,510.40. And the financial impact, the amount of $29,510.40 come out of the facilities capital reserve.
All right, do we have a recommendation there with both thoughts?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation just for the question, through Mr. Mayor. Josh, the time frame. So.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Josh.
Sorry.
Turn it on there now.
The time frame.
In terms of when we get the work done, will this be done in the fall or will we have to wait till the spring till this is done?
Through your Mayor Martin, it's going to start in the fall, and I do believe it's going to be wrapped up in mid-November.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, so on the motion, you're seconding the motion. Okay, any other questions? All in favor? Not carried. Josh. Okay, thanks, Josh. Okay, next, report around the, generator, the concrete pad.
That's right, Mayor Martin. So the purpose of this report is to obtain council's approval to award the tender, the HPM Community Center concrete pad and generator. The tender, the concrete pad and generator was live on bids and tenders and our social media platforms on August 21st, 2025. They closed on September 18th, 2025 at 11:05 a.m. The tender of the HPM Community Center provide and install the concrete pad generator. Recommendation would be for Gecko Industries in the amount of $99,266.11. Staff is also asking for approval to apply for a $50,000 emergency preparedness grant. We were made aware of the grant after the tender was closed. If we apply to that grant, we should hear back by February 2026. If we're successful, the amount of $49,266 will be covered by the emergency preparedness grant, and if we're not successful, the amount of $50,000 will be funded from the Parks General Ledger Reserve.
So by waiting for a journey, like, so that's our go-to for emergency measures, as far as the community center, is that? Or for this thing, is that what it's for? Is it?
Yeah, it's for the uranium.
Yeah, so And February is probably fine because of construction over there anyway, so it's not gonna hold us up at all if we had a problem tomorrow.
That's right.
It would be nice to get this thing in as soon as possible, so, okay, all right, it would be nice to get the grant.
So yeah, just a motion to approve, the recommendation for the report and then to move ahead with the grant.
Yeah.
And then just the question, I see the company we've gone with, Josh, is a numbered company listed on here. Are we familiar with this company in terms of, we've looked into other work they've done in the background in terms of that, so.
Right, so through you, Mayor Martin, it is a numbered company, but it's also Gecko Industries out of Campbellford.
Okay.
The municipality currently has a handful of generators through this company. They treat us really well, and it's a good recommendation.
Okay, so you're ready for the recommendation? I can give you the recommendation, Jerry, with a
Second, the recommendation with a question. The grant you said we're applying for, it was not on the system prior to, it just come on after we had made the decision on the generator.
Through you, Mayor Martin, that's correct. Councillor Doherty, it was on that following Friday.
Okay.
So this is a round 3. We've already applied to that once. I did believe we applied to round 1. So this is round 3.
And did we not budget last year for this?
Through you, Mayor Martin, yes, we have all the funds available for budget. But if we're able to apply to a grant and keep 50,000 in the reserve.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so did you second that motion, did you?
I did.
Okay, it's a move to second. Do you have any questions, Beth?
Actually, yes, I do have one. I do recall a pad being done, a generator, but I thought that was already done. Is that a different generator that you're doing? Like, is there more than one?
Through you, Mayor Martin, we would have poured the pad for the natural gas pressure station to support the generator. We did that last fall.
Right.
And the generator has not arrived yet, and it would require its own pad.
Okay. Oh, so we need another pad.
That's correct.
And what was the first pad for?
It's to support the natural gas pressure station.
Okay. Okay.
I can take the pictures for you.
No, that's okay. It was just confusing because I thought we had already got this generator. Or no, sorry. Well, you didn't get it because you didn't get the grant for it. But that's okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have a mover and seconder. All in favor of the motion? Necessary.
Thank you.
Thank you. Finals, current policy. So we do have the insurance policy renewal here, and nice to see a bit of a decrease. So seems to be a trend. Any questions for Lionel? So the recommend. Yeah.
To keep bringing us reports like this.
Yeah.
Any report that's saving us money. No, yeah, I'll make a motion that we, the recommendation of the treasurer.
All right, so the deputy mayor is moving the recommendation. Councilor Doherty seconding it.
With a question,
Question.
not a question, a comment. I'd just like to thank Lionel for reaching out to the other municipalities, getting comparables, which helps our case long term. So thank you, Lionel, for the initiative, and it's nice to see the insurance go down because it would be becoming a problem. Thank you.
Through you, Chair, it was a bit of an eye opener doing that little benchmarking, starting a little benchmarking group. I thought maybe we get a few more participants. We had over 20, but I think based on the feedback, I think it's going to grow, and this, in my mind, is something we'll keep going into the future. We'll have a really good base in terms of historical amounts, and quite honestly, it may help individual municipalities when they go to their insurers say, hey, listen, we're part of this and this is what the data is saying, and it won't just help us. So
Thank you. All right, so we have a mover and a seconder on this. All in favor of the motion? Eric. Thanks, Lionel. Next, we have economic development. Here. Okay. Hello, Sherry. Volunteer fair. Okay.
Mayor Martin, Council. This was, or is, a report to Council for the purpose providing you with a follow-up to the approved inaugural 2025 volunteer event, which happened in spring of 2025, April. We received positive feedback from those participating groups, and staff recommends Council approve a 2026 volunteer event tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, April 8th, location to be determined. In terms of background, we had solicited all the participants. We had approximately 25 people pass through the fair, which is a number lower than we expected and hoped for. But you'll remember that we had rescheduled our original date 1 week and missed out on transportation to the schools. But overall, the general feedback was that 75% of all participants, which were 16 community groups, felt that it was very productive, 25 being somewhat productive, event satisfaction. And the volunteer Peterborough group, you'll remember, was a group that had presented to Council some time ago, felt that it was the most successful volunteer fair that they've held or been a part of within the county so far. Do you have any questions at all?
Thank you for this, Sherry, because I am hearing through the county that we're having a great success compared to some of the others. So I don't know whether that's, how we're circulating or what it is, but we seem to be, I know the numbers are down on this, but like you say, we did have to move. But
thank you.
Councilor Doherty.
So your Mayor, volunteer Peterborough was happy with our result.
Volunteer Peterborough, yes. So we had participation from Volunteer Peterborough. We took a slightly different approach. Originally, they took the lead in all of the groups across the county. Myself and Councillor Clement attended, between the two of us, we attended 3. And they had approximately 8 to 12 participating groups with very low numbers. And what we found was Volunteer Peterborough were charging the community groups in upwards of $100 to participate. We took a totally different approach to that. Our position was that our goal was to support them. So in working with Volunteer Peterborough, they were invited to attend. They presented to all of the participating groups. And we had a very small budget, but enough to provide some refreshments. Otherwise, the cost would maintain very low. They didn't charge anyone. They didn't play that role in this particular event.
Okay, maybe we just go back.
Sure.
Whose volunteer fair is this? Havelock-Belmont-Methuen or Peterborough volunteer? I just kind of confused because we're paying, so is it us or them? Because we keep referring to Peterborough volunteers. I'm more interested in the Havelock Lions, the Havelock Seniors, community care, things of that nature is about. I think Peterborough has enough area that they can get their own volunteers. I don't really see the need. And I think it's great to have Habitat for Humanity in there too, but we don't have any projects here. And I'm just curious as to why Volunteer Peterborough has so much influence on a volunteer meeting or open house that we're having. Maybe you could crystallize that for me.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Doherty. That's an excellent question and observation. So the key word is Peterborough. So Volunteer Peterborough, I think originally was referred to as Volunteer Peterborough because it focuses largely on the city of Peterborough, but it has expanded to Peterborough County. And that, when they presented to council approximately 2 years ago, that was part of their presentation to the group, was to expand.
Sorry to interrupt. To what council? The county council or the municipal council?
Through the municipality, to our Havelock-Belmont-Methuen. It was shortly after that myself, Councillor Flagler, Councillor Clement had pursued them because we were interested in their application. So they have an app where individuals who are interested in volunteering can enter in all of their, let's say, their background, areas of interest, how much time and availability they have. And they have a matching program that will match interested volunteers, whether they live on the lakes or within the village, and match them with a participating community group. We wanted to access that tool and extend that to our community groups. So that was one of the reasons why we continued to partner with them with this. We chose to change the focus of the volunteer fair by making it the inaugural HBM volunteer group. They still participated, they still presented to all community groups. They introduced the value of their technology, invited them to participate with a fee, entirely up to them if they choose to use that. And the group as a whole felt that the volunteer fair as a focused Havelock-Belmont-Methuen event was very successful. And I think that's in my recommendation is that that should proceed in that fashion. They'll still play a role. Hopefully their technology will help to connect some volunteers with our community groups. I hope I've answered your question.
Sorry, I if I may, a follow-up question. So the feedback we'll use from Peterborough volunteers for feedback, but there's some questions in there on the I guess the questionnaire is we had some questions on timing, which should it be, how long should it be, and all those other things. But one question that came up when I was there circulating amongst the groups is, wouldn't it be nice if we could just have an informal volunteer get together on a 3-month basis so that we all know what one another's doing? In other words, something like this, only not a committee of council, not formal, is that they get together and just sit down and talk about, because there's a lot of overlapping and we're seeing a lot of that change and a lot of coordination between groups. But that was the feedback that I got on it. So anyway, I didn't, you said it's April 8th, but you didn't give us time. I just didn't know whether it had been decided yet, or do we have to get the Peterborough volunteer to give us a time so that we can accurately get it done?
Thank you. In terms of the date was discussed with all the community groups. It's pretty important to select a date before baseball starts, before soccer starts, before our kids are sort of committed to other events, because we will lose certain individuals and certain community groups. The group as a whole decided that the April was a target. That particular date seemed to work for folks. Not to suggest that it can't be adjusted further as we meet with them. To your point, I quite agree. This is a volunteer fair which gets everybody in the room, hopefully with enough cachet to attract people in, let's say, areas of the township that may not come into the village for events. We hope that it has enough cachet to do that. But in terms of bringing people together, there is an event planned on Monday, October the 20th, which is community groups meeting with community groups. They will actually take a page from the book that was placed down at the volunteer fair, which was to introduce themselves, because that's what each community group introduced themselves to the other community groups, talked a little bit about their backgrounds, what their missions are, what their fundraising goals were, and also started to talk about key dates within that planned year. And that's what we will be doing on the 20th of October. And the role of economic development from a rural standpoint is to bring these groups together to help them plan dates so that they don't run into situations where you have multiple events happening on a particular date, which might undermine their success. But it's also to make sure that they're using the resources available to them, which is like our community online calendar, which is being utilized by only 4 community groups. And there are, anywhere from 16 to 18 groups that could be utilizing that to get the word out.
Follow up, if I may. What is October 20th? What meeting is that? Who calls it? Where is it? Who's it for?
Through Mayor Martin. Again, it bubbles up from the community. So Community Care is going to coordinate this one. We are supporting them, of course, but Community Care called it. They're reaching out to other community groups for the same reason, to collaborate, look for opportunities to share volunteer groups, also to start planning for 2026.
Thank you.
Okay.
Answered my question.
Okay. So yeah, I appreciate this, Sherry, and like I say, I'm hearing good things, and I do believe in working together. We all have trouble getting volunteers. So by working together, hopefully we can, you know, put our heads together. It's getting more and more challenging all the time. I've talked to several groups over the last couple of weeks that are starting up for their winter things. And yeah, you can get the people, but you can't get the people to run it. So, working together, hopefully we can, put our heads together and get some people coming out and making these things happen. Thank you, Mayor Webb.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just looking at the kind of turnout we had last year, obviously somewhat disappointing. Have we looked at maybe taking a different approach? Because I think we've done this a few times with different things and like more what I'm thinking is should we be maybe going to the people? So like what I would suggest is instead of having an all-day event over here at the rink, maybe we could still have a half-day event, but there's no use of us sitting over there for 7 or 8 hours if only 25 people are going to walk through the door. That being said, to me, a lot of the people that, for myself, I would like to bring into the volunteer game are younger people. They're all in school. And we looked at maybe going to the school to make a presentation, have something in the gym, or we could do something like that. Because obviously, I think the kids would love to get out of school, right, out of class, to come and look at this. You catch them in their element where they no kid's going to walk over here to the volunteer fair unless they're dragged by their parents, unfortunately, right? So I'm just saying maybe the way we're doing it, we can look at like, this is great. And we've tried it, right? This is how we can adapt off. I'm not saying, you know, I was part of the team that came up with this. So I'm not besmirching what we did last year. I'm just saying we tried it. Wasn't the greatest. Maybe we should pivot to something else, and going out to these groups, I think would be a better way. You know, obviously people older than the students are going to be harder to locate in terms of where they might be. But I think that might be better for us to focus on that, going to them and almost making them feel a little bit wanted to. Because if we just sit back and say, come on in, I think we've seen how that's worked over the years, and it's just not working, right? So, and not to say that necessarily this will work per se, but at least we're trying something different. So
through you, Mayor Martin, and thank you for asking that question. I feel like it's a leg up. One of the things that we had done for the April event was, as I mentioned, we were working with Volunteer Peterborough, largely because they had an application to match people, but also because part of their planning team happens to work with one of the high schools in Peterborough. And that chap was coordinating with Nora District High School as well as the Campbell District High School. So the plan was that they were going to be busing kids over from the high school for that day. However, we had to move the date because of the ice storms, and that particular element of the plan fell apart. It's unfortunate. I did highlight it in the report, but we think that had played a big part of it. So I have already had the benefit of meeting with the principal at the North District High School approximately 2 weeks ago, and she will support this as well. She and her guidance counselor love this idea, would like to continue to work with that. What we did discuss was perhaps changing the format where instead of inviting them in, actually coming to present to the students. We could do that as well. That's an option.
Sorry, and just further to that, what I was going to say is, I know that we're dealing with volunteers here, but maybe in terms of the dev side of it, if you like, what I would envision is, say we went over to Norwood or as any high school, you could have a volunteer fair / job fair.
Yes.
So maybe some of these local businesses, right, might be looking for, especially come summertime, student help, not know where to get it. They come over, they set up a table over there, say, I'm looking for, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, 5 people, 2 people. And that would help in terms of on the dev side, in terms of maybe helping local businesses here come by, and local help too, right? Like we're not hiring people from Campbellford or Peterborough to come work in our community. We're hiring our local people to work in our community. So
through you, Mayor Martin, so job fairs are really important. And so we partner with 2 groups, Career Edge Campbellford as well as UPC. And we have job fairs planned in 2026 that are targeting the high schools. So that'll be a big part of it. What we haven't done for those particular events is to include an element of volunteerism for the kids. Why we think that April timeframe is really important is there's still enough time for the kids to gather their volunteer hours, which are a requirement of meeting their graduation requirements. But that's certainly great advice, and we'll take that in for sure.
Thank you.
So share that with the group.
Since we lost the older kids over here at the school, it has changed the dynamics of getting volunteers now that they're at the high school, but we're seeing it even trying to do the counselor appointee. No interest. Things have changed so much in the last few years, and it starts right, like you say, if we can get into school, try and catch some of them there. I always say that a lot of people, when their kids, like when their parents are volunteers, the kids are volunteers too. It seems to run in the family. And if we can get them at the school to start, because some parents just don't have time to do it, but maybe the kids would be happy to come out. So, Councillor Doherty.
I agree with all the points. And one thing that I didn't bring up that I heard at the round was we need a hook. A hook, and maybe the students have hook, but just people have to have a reason to come along with volunteering. That's the message I got. I don't know, what we could do, but I mean, I'd say I agree with you, but what is it? What would you like? So yeah, I think we're getting some things together that might help the thing.
Thank you for that comment.
So the recommendation is here. What's your thoughts on Deputy Mayor Webb? Where's the recommendation? Second, Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried. Well, thank you.
Thanks for that.
Okay, so the next item on here is curbside, update of curbside and depot fees. We are going at the closing at 11 o'clock. It's a hard stop there at 11. So
Thank you, Mayor Martin. Yeah. The purpose of this report this morning is to update the Township Havelock-Belmont-Methuen curbside and depot fees.
okay.
Not happy.
Okay, is that it?
Yes, sir. I could go through the recommendation, but it's quite lengthy, so.
No, do what you gotta do.
So I'll read the recommendation. So council approves the fees for the 6-line transfer station waste scale adjusted to the following. All vehicles entering 6-line transfer station with garbage must cross the scale. A minimum of $5.50 shall be charged for crossing the scale with untagged waste weighing 32 grams or less. A maximum 2 tagged bag limit weighing 32 kilograms or less will be permitted across the scale at no additional charge. All vehicles with 3 bags or more or loose or bulky items weighing over 32 kilograms shall be weighed and charged at a rate of $165 per tow. And that a single bag tag shall be charged at the rate of $2.75. And that the updated fees be implemented beginning on January 2nd, 2026. And further, the waste management fees bylaw adopted in the bylaw section of the agenda.
Okay, so a lot of this is something that when we did the weigh scale and everything, we were looking at something similar to this as far as crossing the scale and that, and we kind of put it aside because we're worried about traffic. So is this a trial for like to try it and see if it works while we're in our slower season then, Peter, as far as anything at the depot?
Through you, Mayor Martin, I think that would be a good suggestion to see how it plays out through the winter months. One of the reasons with keeping the bag tag at the 6-line scale, if a vehicle does pull up onto the scale with two bags with tags on them, it'll speed the process up. So, the attendant doesn't have to come out and, the payment's already done. It will speed the process up. And since we do not have the curbside collection in the country, it kind of allows for the same 1 bag per tag at the transfer station. So.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for the report, Pete. I appreciate where we're going with this. Costs are always going up, especially around waste management. There's a number of changes that are going on in this industry over the past few years. So I appreciate us trying to recollect the money that we're paying out. I would like to maybe slow walk this and have there's information here in terms of, I don't know, are we short revenue right now in terms of how much?
Through you, Mayor Martin, last year in the operating contracts budgeted was 2024. Sorry, it was budgeted 155,000, and the actual come in at 182,000. So we were 27,000 short.
Under?
under, yeah, so we were over budget by 27,000. So we budgeted 155,000 and
Okay.
the actual number was 182,000.
And what are our fees at the moment? They're listed here, but
Yes,
I know there was some lack of clarity as to whether we were charging $2 a bag or not.
yes, and through your memory, I do not believe that was implemented. So it was still.
So would that, if we were charging $2 a bag, would that make up for the shortfall? Because if so, like we're asking here to go to 275. So this is even over $2, that's a almost 40% increase.
Yes.
Unless it's warranted. I'm not a big fan of handing on 40% increases on the residents on anything.
No, through you, Mayor Martin, I do have some comparables through other municipalities, but in the whole, like we are being charged $150 a ton. The township's being charged $150 a ton at Bensford for our tipping fees. We're currently only charging 140 at our scale. They updated theirs last year, and we've been trying to get this to be updated as well. So right now we're not even breaking even.
No, I appreciate,
and it all breaks down though. It's all relevant. So it's a per ton, per 100 kilograms and it works down to our minimum or maximum bag, which is 275, which is the 60.
I understand, and we're part of that increase at the county level. So I'm not putting that on you. That my whole thing in terms of moving ahead here is I don't really have any numbers in terms of you're telling me stuff, but I don't you obviously have the sheet in front of you, but I don't have that in my report. So are we losing money? How much money are we losing? Why are we losing that in terms of, are we charging too little for our bag tags? Are we charging too little for the bulk that's going over? There's a whole bunch of different factors here. And then there's other things. What I would just like to make a motion that we maybe put this off and refer it into the budget process. This is going to be coming up here in a month or two. There's other factors down there. I know we've had discussions in the past couple of meetings about our bins being full up down there. So we're going to have to get more bins. So I know there's going to be an added cost to that, but I think it would be better for us as a council to do this all together. So get all the information instead of, as I said, like maybe we put this out now and have to go back and amend it, whether it's charging more or going back and lowering it again. So I don't know if I don't want to hold it up if, as I said, if we're losing money hand over fist now, then obviously this is something we need to correct. But if it's something that's, we're not in that situation, I would really think it would be better for council if we could take another couple of weeks or whatever, get more information on this and come to, a hard number in terms of what we're doing. I don't know. The 275, why 275?
Through you, Mayor Martin. So if it breaks down from the $165 a ton, break it back down to 100 kilograms, which works out to $16.50 per 100 kilogram. And then if you keep going, and we divided it out. So we took an average. So across the county, it was 30 to 40 was the maximum bag weight. So we went with 35. So it worked out that we took 16 kilograms as our maximum bag weight. So if you take 275 a tag, times it by 6, you get to 1650, and you keep going, you get to 165. So the 275 actually is for 16 kilograms of garbage, which is our maximum. Now, understood, no one's going to be at the 16 kilograms all the time. Could be over or less, but that's what we decided on staff to come to a maximum bag.
And I appreciate that you said that out yesterday, so I appreciate the follow up to that because it does kind of explain that. So it explains what we're taking in. I don't know what we're paying out. That's what I mean. I need to see the other side of the ledger. Because really, you're asking me to make a budget question without knowing. I only know half of the data, right? So, and that's all I'm asking is if we could just get a week or two here, maybe refer this to budget. I understand there's costs and this is going to have to be amended. So I'm not saying we're not changing this. I just want, as I said, when we make the change, I want it to be right. I don't want us to have to go back a month or two later and change it back, right? Because this is something that every resident uses.
So when we do make the change, Peter, the one thing that I always hate to see is so it's been since 2010 since any changes, and you know what? That's not reality, and it just gets us in this type of trouble. All of a sudden, you got 40% increase. It should almost be happening every year. It's cost of living, whatever. It should be going up if that's, and that would save a little bit of what we're into now. You know, and I know it happens the same with water. You keep putting it off until the next thing you know, you're in the hole, and all of a sudden it's a huge jump, then you get everybody upset. So,
And to be fair to Pete,
yeah,
he wasn't the one making those decisions. Those decisions to put it off were made by
Yeah.
council. So, yeah.
and a lot of
Not
that
on
stuff
you.
is changing really quick, like the deputy mayor says. This is like after January, there's gonna be huge changes that you know, we need to prepare for. But deputy mayor, or sorry, Councillor Doherty, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I agree with Deputy Hart comments, but I have some more. When the scales went in, they were sold on the idea that they'll pay for themselves, and I think there was some numbers thrown around 6 months, 9 months, a year. I don't know whether we've actually paid for them or not, because we've had a lot of extra work down there. Personally, I can't sell $1.25 to $2.75 in one fell swoop. And if the councils of the past from 2010 till 2015 didn't recognize this, I mean, now it's putting the onus on us and everybody here. I think it won't, that just won't hunt for me. It's too much money at one time. Now, if we get on a program of looking at it regularly and get it up. The scale situation is a different thing. The county has put us in a bad spot. They've raised it, so we have that. But we don't have any numbers, as Deputy Mayor said, to show the public exactly what it is. And you put a ballot point yesterday, you said, we're paying anyway. But the 165 that you talked about, make sure that we get the transportation costs on that as well, so that we know exactly. Another problem is we're changing the configuration. How is that going to affect the human resource side of it? And as the mayor says, we do have the producer pay coming up in January. I have no idea what, I don't even think the government knows what that's going to look like in the future. So I don't really want to be changing this 3 or 4 times. Like to get it kind of right, but I agree that the $1.25 needs a review. And I agree, this is more of a budget item to me than where it is today. So I would second a motion to defer it to budget and probably get some more information if you can get it for us. Thank you.
Okay, do we have a mover?
You move it then. I didn't.
Okay, I'll move.
But if we need, you want to second?
This one.
Second it, or you just?
Yeah, sure, because I'm not for it either.
So we have a mover. Seconding, or
Who's seconding?
yeah. Okay. Okay, any other questions or comments? All in favor? Sure. Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
The next, we're moving into the fire ban criteria. Welcome.
Morning, everyone. So yeah, as Mayor Martin stated, this report is providing information regarding the fire ban that was requested by Councilor Doherty on September the 2nd.
Oh, excuse me, may I intercede? A question through you. The motion was presented by council, not by me. I made the motion, it was seconded and carried. So the motion came from council, just for your clarity.
Okay.
So just reword it to move by mayor.
Moved by council on September the 2nd at the council meeting.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I spoke with you about this, Ray. Appreciate the report. Just I got a lot of questions in terms of, you know what I mean? I guess the protocol on how these decisions come to be made. So thank you very much for bringing this. It was probably a long summer for you, given the drought we had or whatnot, but I myself was confused. I'm still learning stuff about the fire department every day, even though I've been here for a while. So that's all that's the reason I asked for it, was basically for some clarification. So when people reach out to me, I have an answer that sounds coherent and intelligent, right? Instead of just making something up. So that's why I asked for it, but I appreciate you bringing it forward.
Okay, so and reading the report and moving forward. So we do have these emergency measures, meetings and things like that. Once a year, we do a mock emergency. One of the things after going over this and watching the last meeting that this was brought up, I really would the report is great, explains everything. I just wonder if it would help if we had like an education meeting for council and you can go over, like I've been in several times, over the years, every year I come to you about, and you joked this year that, I didn't come when snow was on the ground, but for council to understand the process that you go through, I've seen all your screens, I've seen all the things that you've referred to. I just wonder if we should have like a special education meeting, even for an hour, just to go over all of the documents that you use so we can understand it completely, because it is nice if we have the same story for the people. I had no problems explaining it, but I've been around a long time, so it was easy for me. But if we could do an hour get together with you, wherever you want to do it, we can come up with a date after this. I've got a ton on the schedule here, but we'll set up a special meeting and you can go over it with council and break it down for us so we can, get everything answered and understand it completely. So
Just like the one you did at the Stone Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no, it was received
Yeah,
very
yeah,
well. That was,
exactly.
I think the Belmont Lake Cottagers Association, but the presentation after that, as I said, a number of the members there came up and said that they really liked it and it was very informative and they wish that stuff like that would maybe go on more. So
we'll set up a date in the fall here and go over it. And I think there is changes coming to this anyways, but moving forward, is there any other questions for the chief?
Yes, through your mirror, which one are we going off? The one that you sent first or the one that we got on the meeting now? Because I'm a little confused because you made a comment that I didn't do something, and since it's in open and I recommend it being closed, we can do it either way. We can discuss it now in open or we can discuss it in closed.
No, it's in open.
Okay, good. What did I lie to you about?
Well, you said that you came and spoke to me and I heard that you were up there for an hour and you have never came and spoke to me unless you walked through the fire hall.
Well, first of all, the last time that I spoke to you, you emailed me to come up and see you after a meeting on 19th of November, which I did.
Mr. Mayor, this is something that should be discussed and closed between obviously a councillor and a staff member. I don't think this is something that the public needs to see.
Well, it's you can make that motion.
I'll make that motion whether it wants to. I'll second.
Because this sounds like something, okay, all right, so we'll move it to, that can be a part of a future closed session, so.
Sure.
It's not on the agenda today, so. Okay. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Ray.
Thanks. Motion to receive the report. That's not your web.
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
But, right, just one question about your signs, because they have changed a bit and the colors. Do you know what's new with the colors? Like, what's this phrase? You know what I mean?
Through you, Mayor Martin. So if you, let me find it here.
Yeah.
It's on the screen, right? There it is.
Oh. So,
They've all changed.
yeah, so the top ones are old.
Yes.
That was the old original M&R colors, the green, yellow. You can see the green was low, moderate was yellow, orange high, red was extreme. M&R changed their colors to the bottom ones. So the low is blue now and stuff like that. The gray I added, some other townships have put black and stuff like that because that's just for a fire band. As long as we have the colors for the M&R,
Okay.
which we are, the gray was just added. So it's sometimes easier just to go around because that arrow is actually a magnetic arrow. It can just be changed over to the fire band when the fire band's on. Then the signs, the other signs can be posted on fire roads, private roads, wherever they gotta go.
Okay, so now the extreme means you can still have fire
It says on there, no daytime burning.
if you have it on
Yeah.
stream.
I don't have a date
Okay.
right now.
And Sorry, through you, remember, if you actually go to the township's website,
Yeah.
it'll explain those colors under the sign on the website.
So extreme, I can't have fire in the daytime, but I can have one at night.
No,
Okay.
You can.
Extreme,
you can do you with conditions, and that it's explained in
in the thing. Okay,
the other thing. I should have added that actually on there, sorry.
okay.
So the-
Thank you.
So the format, that's the new format, is that provincial or is that federal? Like I sent you the picture of the one in Newfoundland, it's exact same with our new sign. They have the same signs down there, so I was kind of surprised because I'm used to the old signs and now they're all going to the slide. So anyway, I just wondered, it's funny, maybe the provinces all do similar things, but
The province is the circle one, the half moon one on their, if, I think it's on the picture of the. Can you go to the next page, Leah, please? Go scroll down a little bit farther. No, it's not on there, but you can see the M&R colors there.
okay. All right,
For what it's worth, I don't know. I like the old one better, like the half. I think maybe just because we're used to it in terms of being able to read. And then with the new signs, I understand them and they're okay. But what I found, I think I drove by the one on 50, it was the one day. So we have an arrow. I think it would be easier to see if there was an X or something like I remember driving by it and it, you know what I mean? The arrow, like just, it doesn't even look like an arrow there kind of.
Well, the arrows were actually supposed to be black. They screwed up in the thing.
No, and I'm not, I know
If it was on
I'm
the
being
extreme, you
nitpicky
wouldn't
here, but
even
I'm just
see
saying
it.
people
Yeah.
are driving and
Yeah.
whatnot, and what it hit me was, as they said, you know, a big X or something, if you were gonna use just the flat sign,
Yeah.
would be easier to denote where it is than the arrow kind of, especially like you said, the red and black would definitely be better, so. Thank you, Rick.
And on the long signs, they were easier to put on the township sign.
Yeah, no,
That's
understood,
was
no,
the other,
understood.
because they're on every entrance into the
Yeah,
township.
understood, thank you.
all right. So we have a mover and a seconder to receive the delegation, one favor. Carry. Okay, thanks, Ray.
You.
So the community grant application. So this came for
Our solicitors on the line, we can do this quickly.
we do this, people one, like, can we do this for our full one, like,
Yeah.
summer here?
Yeah, good.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You guys go.
Yeah, please.
Motion to approve, if you, do you want to intro?
The community, we don't need an
grant.
intro, it's fine.
Community
Okay.
grants for the
Pretty
school.
self-explanatory.
Motion.
A motion to move the community grant for the school. First, our moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Doherty, all in favor? That's carried. Okay, and the next is the Historical Society agreement. So. I speak to it, Bob, or?
Again, I think it's self-explanatory. There is an agreement here, a license agreement with the Historical Society, sorry. We have a license agreement here with the Historical Society that they have signed. And this is here for council's approval.
Okay. All right. So moved by Councillor Doherty, second by Councillor Flagler, all in favor, and that's carries.
Yeah.
Okay, and you wanna, can we finish this here?
It's the last one.
Is that gonna take a lot of time, do you think?
It's totally up to council. It doesn't have to take a lot of time.
There might.
The recommendation is that we refer that item
Well,
to budget.
if you want to start it, the only thing I was gonna say, so with, in terms of the town hall, the report's there, the costing is there.
Right.
The considerable amount of money, especially considering the other projects we're gonna have going on during this time frame. For myself personally, now that we have numbers around this, I would like to maybe get a little bit of input from our community in terms of, now that this is the hard number. I know there's a local group here that's avidly trying to fundraise. They're running car shows and whatnot. If there's a way we can possibly connect with them to see what their goals are in terms of fundraising, in terms of what we might be able to garner out of some of these other organizations towards this, just in terms of, before we move forward, figure out, you know what I mean, what the community really wants here going forward in terms of, you know,
The recommendation on there is to refer to the budget. So there is, so there
Okay,
is.
well, then I will move that, as long as there's no commitment there to.
Yeah,
to actually going ahead with the funding until we've had, I think we need to have a larger discussion with some members of the community over this, so. Especially the group that's fundraising for it now, so.
So the recommendation is moved by the deputy mayor. Second, you have a seconder?
Second, with a comment is that not only should that group be involved, but I think it should be a town hall meeting for everybody, extensively advertising, because if we look at the numbers, it's at 2.6, which is on the low side. It's going to be higher than that. There's some debenture costs that if we borrowed the money, it's going to cost us what, $170,000 a year. What that relates to in terms of expense on our taxes, probably right at now around 2%. So every year you're going to be starting off with a 2% deficit. So I think these things need to be, everybody should have a complete and absolute view of the holistic approach to the town hall. And people are going to say you don't want it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is let's know what we're doing when we approve it, not keep putting in 250 and 100 year after year. Let's make a decision of what we're going to be doing. It's been put off since 1998. So another couple of weeks or a month to go to budget sure as heck won't help, but I think it needs a lot more discussion. Thank you.
So we can do that. The previous council, we did have a public meeting with everybody there. We've already done that, but we can do it again. And we heard loud and clear at that meeting that they wanted it fixed, and we agreed. Now it's pretty hard to back out because we put a lot of money into it already, but we can do another public meeting if that's what this council was. So
the past council made a commitment to go up to that.
We are on old numbers. It was on the old number.
But I don't think this council is committed to what the previous council did. So, and we have new found information that we should be looking at to do it, and then maybe bring some finality to it, overall. So we know what we're going to do, and if we're going to keep it, how much we're going to spend on it per year. If we're going to keep the building, you got to keep it repaired, not just have a building. So if you're going to have an asset, keep it repaired. So that has not been done. We do it on a panic basis. When there's a hole in the roof, we fix the roof. The air conditioner breaks, we fix the air conditioning. So now is the time to take a holistic look at it, in my opinion.
So we did, and we worked off old numbers, and it was agreed, and we can do it again. That's what I'm saying. So we'll defer it till budget. And in the meantime, line up a meeting with the public.
I was going to say, just for clarification, maybe I was missing. I'm not necessarily asking, Councilor Doherty can ask for
more input.
Well, yeah, like in terms of my meeting up, what I'm more getting at is meeting with maybe the groups, the user groups, in terms of the funding going forward. So, and more so, as I said, this Save the Town Hall group, in terms of what we might be able to, what their contribution might be able to be to this. So we can figure that into our numbers in terms of moving forward and whatnot. Not so much on, are we going to do this or aren't we going to do this? Because at least to myself, that, decision has kind of been made already. But I would like to know in terms of, are we doing this all by ourselves? Or are we getting help from other members of the community, or maybe even donations, right? That's a whole other picture.
So that part of it, like right now, the recommendation is that we're refer to budget. As far as what we do before the budget, if somebody wants to arrange for a public meeting, we can do that too. Right now, from what I'm hearing from you, it's refer this to budget. And so that's what the motion is.
Okay.
So is there a seconder for that motion? Okay, second by Councillor Flagler. Questions, comments? Councillor Doherty, your mic's on, are you?
I had a question, but we'll leave it for another day.
Okay, thank you. So all in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you. All right, so we do have to go into closed session. We do have somebody waiting online. So motion to go into closed session held under section 239(2)B for personal matters, identifiable individual, and 239(2)E for litigation and potential litigation. Motion to close, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councilor Doherty, all in favor, not carried. Motion to resume open meeting. Our regular meeting, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councilor Fleischer, all in favor, and that's carried. Okay,
Sorry, just one motion, closed.
Okay.
That we accept the recommendation of the municipal solicitor regarding the item discussed under litigation or potential litigation.
Okay. We want to move that. Moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councilor Flagler, all in favor, carried. Okay. So we don't have any correspondence. No one coming to correspondence, so. Okay, so we're moving to the liaison report. County, anything from the county there, Hart?
Now we had a presentation from the United Way. It's basically on their this year's fundraising efforts and fundraising goals. Apologize, I'm trying to use the computer. Oh yeah, update on the blue boxes and an update for Peter paramedics in terms of the response time plan for ambulances. Insurance, we went over insurance plan, much like we did today here at HPM. And then just the development of a depot master plan for the county. So obviously there's a lot of these depots, road/works depots all over. Seems like the county has one in almost every township, I believe. So county's just looking at in terms of obviously upgrades to these depots, and if there's a way that possibly might be able to consolidate these instead of being into 8 into 4 or 5 different areas for some cost savings and also better efficiency in terms of delivering the product out to the community. So obviously that plan hasn't come out yet. This was just setting the money aside. When that comes back, I'll bring more information because I think that could impact the county depot we have here back on 46. Is that not true, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, it'll be.
Okay. But as of now, nothing's changing. But hopefully in the future, as I said, that the county depot back on 46 will be upgraded, if not expanded in some way, which would be nice for us, right? So that's about it, I believe. So it was a short meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right then. Oh wait, liaison reports. Councilor Doherty had a reporter from Community Policing Committee. I don't know if there's any questions on that. That's from June 11th, and then Councilor Flagler, there's several reports here from in June. So if there's no questions, I'll look for a motion that we receive these reports. Moved by Councilor Doherty, second by Deputy Mayor Webb, all in favor, and that's carried. Okay, I don't have any you have notice a motion for me. Do you have any oral notice motion? Hearing none. Moving into other business. And so, yeah, Councilor Webb.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, this is something we'll be getting. I guess they started kind of in the middle of the summer on this, but as time goes on, I'm getting more and more. I think it has to do with obviously our heavy traffic flows we have here in the summertime, so we're getting more instances. Just I guess maybe we could refer this to the roads and spoke with our roads manager about this. So I believe he has been in contact with the MTO. We just haven't come to a resolution, but basically what's happening here is up at the west end of town at the lights. There was a light signal put in there that obviously has 4 lights on it now. So it obviously has the left turning signal, but for some reason the left turning signal has never operated. So, and then what we're running into now is obviously with heavy traffic flows on the weekends, well, actually all days in the summertime, but more so, I guess, Fridays to Sundays. And it's happened to myself as well, where people will come up to make that left turn to go to Campbellford. And you have to wait 4 or 5 light changes just for 1 or 2 cars to go there, right? So I know that the fact that the light is there with 4 lights on it meant that they were gonna get to it. It's just the last time I talked to our roads manager, it hasn't been properly hooked up or whatnot. So I was just wondering if we could inquire into.
So he's on here. if you want.
Okay, so yeah, maybe, sorry, Pete, I didn't know you were there.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin.
On that real quick, please.
Yes, I'll just give you a real high view of what's going on there. So we need a new design to be approved by the ministry. I have the ministry involved, the MTO, Robert Long has been a great help. We had a compliance issue with the lights and the lights being all integrated together with the train lights. The design had to include the train lights into our new design with the left-hand turn signals, the new crosswalks. So long story short, the railway did an upgrade on their crossing last year. And we were not informed, MTO or township was not informed on their upgrade, which actually put our lights in a compliance issue. So we have just now come to figure out here in the last 2 months through our contractor guild that it has the railways upgrade has affected our traffic lights to give us a compliance issue. So in the last month, I have contacted finally the manager for our area for CP Rail to rectify this situation. And just a quick overview again, if you're coming south on 46 into the lights, the light is green and the train is going across the road. So that is the issue. The Transport Canada suggested that we put up a $30,000 blackout LED sign so no traffic can go forward at this time. But again, on further inquiring on this, it comes down to that the railway upgrade has made this change on us. So we are dealing with the railway and MTO to try to rectify this problem as quick as we can. So again, the long and short of it is the railway upgrade, they moved their trigger to start their preamp to start the light change. They've moved it very close to County Road 30. It used to be 100 yards up the track either way. So in a long and short story, we're dealing the best we can and as quick as we can to get this rectified. But there's a lot of people involved, and if they didn't move their preamp up the track, we would not have an issue. So MTO and HBM staff both feel that this is the MTO and township should not be paying for a new light. They feel that the railway should be making the changes or paying for the light. So just a quick overview. I can go into detail more if you like, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that. That's a lot of information. Just trying to get that out there because I know there's a lot of people in the public that don't really understand what's going on down there. Now, you referenced like south off 46. I'm talking more traveling west off 7 and then making that left turn.
Yeah. So through you.
Yeah.
So through you, Mayor Martin. Yeah. So I know exactly the turn lanes that you're referring to, but we need to have we need to rectify the train lights integrating with our own traffic lights so we can get our design done. And as soon as we get our design done, the MTO, like I say, Robert Long has already approved the turn lanes. We just need to get the design and the traffic lights with the railway lights, and then get our design in. Robert Long has no concerns with the turn lanes or anything that's there proposed. We just need to get the railway and township and MTO to agree on the solution for the traffic lights, and then we'll be up and running.
Okay, thank you. Just for history's sake, how long has that light been there with the 4 lights on it, with the turning signal?
That's been there a year. It was installed in March. We got the lights through it's almost a year and a half, I would say, Deputy Mayor. We got the lights through the Connecting Link grant. So we did get the lights installed and did receive the money for the lights. We just been hung up on this design. And it's unfortunate. So we are working our best to get this resolved as quick as we can.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you, Peter. Was the light itself ever hooked up after it was installed? Like, was that turning signal ever used, like in terms of?
Through you, Mayor Martin, no, it was never hooked up or never used because we needed the design approved, stamped in our hands before we'd actually be able to turn it on. So it's never been operational.
Okay. Because I don't know, this isn't on you, Pete, this is more MTO thing. It's weird that you have a light there where the top 3 lights work, but I've never seen the bottom light work.
Yeah, so that and again, so just a real quick overview. We had to meet our deadline for the grant, so we had to get the lights up and installed to receive the money that we applied for and were successful with the grant, so we could get our payments in by the end of their fiscal year, which was March 31st. So we did as much as we could, and that was the big bulk of it. It was 113,000, I think I remember, the upgrade with the lights, and we had to have all our invoices submitted by the end of March 31st and installed. So that's why it's sitting there blank and still working on the paper end of things.
Okay, thank you. And the other thing was I noticed that as I traveling west down Highway 7, the train no left turn sign that's hooked up to that light is working, right? So I think that's where I'm getting more of the kind of comments from our residents in terms of they're asking what the train signal works fine, but the road signal isn't working, right? But you're telling me basically when the train came in and hooked that up, that buggered up the MTO light.
Yes.
Okay.
And the long and short of it, that no left-hand turn when the train's crossing, that is what, and they are lights, and that is what the railway and the Transport Canada want us to put up if you're coming in on 46. Another blackout LED instead of no left turn, it'd be no straight through. And those signs are $30,000 each. So we're doing our best here to avoid another sign and costing us, or well, basically us. It would be because there are signs for the connecting link.
Always appreciate you trying to keep the price down, Pete. Thanks very much for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wonder, we're kind of caught between federal and the provincial here. Could we be writing a letter to the MP and the MPP and say, look, this has been in a year and a half. One of you has to deal with it, whether it's federal or provincial. We need to get this fixed because a year and a half of sitting there and not functioning.
I don't know, you probably, Mayor, but Mr. Mayor, excuse me, you always receive more phone calls than probably the rest of us, but the phone calls I'm getting are really worried about. There's people there. They're stuck in that light and then they're jumping the light on the red, right? Yeah. Because they're stuck in the middle of the intersection and eventually it's being told somebody's going to get hit there, right? And it could be serious. So the quicker we could maybe reach out.
The whole intersection needs to get finished. We've got the stuff there. We just need the equipment. So
would you like a motion then?
So a motion that we write the our MP and our MPP and let them know about it and copy MTO on it and copy them all on it. Let's see if we can get this fixed. So. Okay, that's moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, thanks. All right, so next item on here is the medical center, and I had this on the end of August, and I'm just gonna be bringing it back regularly. And the meeting in August, I brought forward that I had 3 doctors, and I had a practitioner look at the space at the medical or at the library, and it wasn't a choice for council. They didn't want to go ahead with that. So I'm just, so I put it out to contact me. Let's get something rolling here. What it is, I don't know. I don't want to just make it myself, but we need to get moving here. We sold the medical center to build a new medical center or to at least get our own space here. And we're 3rd year of the term and haven't done anything yet. So I was leaving it open, haven't heard from any of council. So I'm going to put it out again that we need to get something going here. Whether I think the first thing would be to pick a location. Like where is it going to be? There's a couple of options out there, but we need to get the process going and get something on paper. So I don't know how you want to do this, but I want to see something before the end of the year, and I just want to give you the chance to.
I think, sorry, through you, all I was going to add is location is by all means important. this also look this, and I know we don't know exactly what's gonna be in there, but I think we need to have a discussion in terms of what our goals are for it, because if we only want a doctor and a nurse practitioner a couple days a week, well, then that severely limits the amount of space we're gonna need to do what we want to do, right? But if we want to put 4 doctors in there and 2 nurse practitioners and whatever, then yeah, we're gonna have to build something considerably bigger. So I think, you know, as well as the where do you want it, what is it and how big is it gonna be? Or like, at least to start
That's
off
right,
with, right?
exactly.
So I know this is just a start, but this is maybe just
So
get our starting point and then we can move from there. So
for the first meeting next month, you know, I'll bring it back again, but maybe we can have a plan. We can talk amongst ourselves to kind of, you know, see what we're thinking. And then maybe have some discussion on it that, you know, whether we set a committee up, whether we have public on the committee, I don't know what it looks like. But I just need help from council to know what we need to do to get something moving, because you're right.
any motion?
Yes, I need
Okay.
a motion that we get something together,
Bring it
and
back.
have it on the next.
Yeah.
The next.
I like the idea of maybe a committee, like
Yeah.
have council have
Well, there's a lot of things to
some
discuss.
sort of council, so.
So, okay, so you're moving that, and we need a seconder for it. Okay, second by Councillor.
Sorry, can I just?
So the motion that yeah, like, I don't know, like, it's a motion, so I don't even know that we need a motion, maybe we bring it back to the next meeting. Help me with this, Bob, as far
He
as
just
like,
wants to bring it back in a
I
month.
want
He
to
wants
come back to the
everybody
first
to sit
meeting
down and
on a
about it.
plan, and maybe that's where we need a motion at that meeting, maybe right now we don't need a motion.
Yeah,
But
but you can put it
think
on
of-
the next agenda.
Yeah, think about it for the next first meeting of the month, not the third.
Oh, okay.
Not the third. Okay. All right, then. So we'll bring it to that meeting and then maybe we can get a motion at that one on what it's gonna look like or what council would like to see. So, okay, all right. That's all I had for that. And the next item on here is the shop local. This is the last one of the year.
Second last.
That's it.
Second.
The second last one, so we still have yeah.
Over.
Got it. So on that note, this is the second last, and the $75 gift certificate goes to the Havelock Truck and Auto, just in time for fall tune-up, oil, lube, and filter. We had 80 entries in this particular contest, brings us up to 690 in total, for a sum total year to date of $46,045.76. We're gonna have bug councils and Flagler to pull. And text. All righty. Okay. And the winner is Tom Finley.
That's the one
Tom's last name is spelled
Congratulations.
Finlay. So congratulations to Tom. His submission was for the Crossroads Restaurant.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
So, all right, so the next item of bylaws and let's defer.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so that's it for the agenda. So the confirming bylaw. Deb? Confirming today's meeting?
Sure, yeah.
Second, Deputy Mayor Webb, all in favor, carried. And German, right? Seconder? F, all in favor.